Hey, you cool cats and kittens. If you're thinking about listening to or watching the Oxford United versus Arsenal game, spoiler alert, it's not worth it because on week 18 roundup, boys and girls, another regular season is in the bag. Third and Long podcast. Gents, how are we doing this Monday evening?
Phil, I've got a little question for you.
Oh, what?
I've got a question for you.
Come at me, brother.
Who's got it better than us?
I'll tell you what, Ollie. Nobody's got it better than us. No, and you know what? Wait for it. Just wait for it. For this week in football, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to have the catch. We're going to have Steve Young's monkey off his back. We're going to have so much going because number 6 is coming back to the Bay.
Yeah,
Trent Dilfer still is rent-free in your head.
We had this guy tweeting about how Trent Dilfer was better than Steve Young this week, but
I tell you what, nothing gets better.
But did it get the reaction I wanted? Straight away?
I tell you what, man. If you wanted a war, we'll get to war when these two number 8s go head to head. And we'll see who is genuinely more. That's literally why I'm wearing my Steve Young jersey tonight, because I'm still hot.
I still think you should. I think you need to get a monkey.
It's a gorilla, Ollie. It's a gorilla. I'm going to get it off my back. Right, so back on.
It's a whole bloody herd, mate, or whatever they're called. It's not a gorilla.
All right. So, ladies and gents, where do we want to start from first? Do you want to start from Saturday night's game?
Yeah, let's roll with. Obviously, the Chiefs locked up the number 1 seed, beating the Raiders. The Raiders. The Raiders.
They put no effort in that game. They basically were reading what they were doing in the off season.
Oh God, no! I mean, they were already in off season, weren't they?
Yeah, Raiders won it with Chiefs won it with minimal fuss, really.
They were even playing nursery rhymes and games.
I enjoyed their Ring of Roses play.
Do you know what? When I watched, because I didn't watch that part of the game live, because once it went to half time, I was like, no, this isn't the bag. So when I looked at some highlights the next day, I genuinely thought it was some form of CGI GIF that somebody had put on. I didn't actually think it was an actual play until I watched the highlights.
Good evening, Dave.
Ebening David. I genuinely didn't think it was real until I watched it going, oh my God, that is what I would call top house shithousery. That is a team mocking. That is a team that is like the equivalent to year 11s mocking the year 7s in a football game. That's exactly how I take it.
It's just really unfortunate that it was actually a flag and the touchdown didn't count.
Oh God!
But it doesn't matter because that play will live on. It'll be up there with like the butt fumble in years to come. This will be on This Week in Football next year.
Well, we've now got the butt fumble and the butt catch.
Yeah, after Sunday Night Football.
Yes. Let's roll on to a game that actually did matter. Jags have made the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. 2018 was the last time. 2017, sorry.
Can I be first to say the first thing on this game?
Go for it, Shano.
I cannot. Do you know what? I am personally pulling, because when we inevitably fall to the Bengals on Sunday, which we will, right? I will be pulling for the Jags to win the Super Bowl for one reason. So Triple H sends Tony Khan a replica WWE World Title belt. That would break the person. That'd be hilarious.
Well, let me tell you, congratulations.
Mate. Brilliant. So
have I missed something about this? Because I have no idea. I didn't know.
Yeah. Sorry, but for those who don't know, any sports team that wins their league, like I don't know, a baseball team wins a World Series, a Premier League team wins a league, Triple H or WWE as a whole send them a replica world title with their badges on either side of the logo.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan, the Shad Khan's son, Tony Khan, owns the number 2 wrestling organization in the world called AEW, and they're in direct competition with WWE.
Okay.
Dave says he wants to go for the Bengals. I'm siding with my little Welsh wizard below me and going for the Jags as well, purely the fact because of the English. I've seen them play more than any other team live.
Phil, who are you going for?
I generally want the Jags, man. I want that story to keep going. I think they're not going to win, but if they got to the AFC Championship, considering that they had Urban Meyer do everything that he could to screw over the franchise, I mean, he full on shafted them good and proper. I mean, Urban Meyer's name more or less should be Johnny Sins because of the shafting that he did to the Jaguars last year. It was unbelievable. Okay? So if we can keep them going, if we can keep the Jags going, if we can keep T-Law going, if we can get the real Josh Allen keep going into the playoffs, I think it's going to be such... It's going to be such a really, really... Sorry, I'm in my Shannon Sharp mode today. I'm not... I watched Undisputed before I came on. So if I keep dropping... let me tell you something to keep. I just want the Jags to keep going, man. AFC Championship, and then they'll ultimately lose to... I know, probably the Chiefs.
Dave, stop watching the show. Just stop watching the show.
Right. Yeah. The Tennessee resting their players, even though they went with Dobbs again, backfired a little bit.
I don't think Dobbs played badly.
I don't either. I think he did all right. You know, he did what they needed to do. Yes, he got picked. His QBR rating could have been a little bit better, but 179 yards and 32 on the ground, you know. But the problem is with that Atlanta team is, yes, they are very badly injury hit. Not Atlanta, sorry, Tennessee team. They are very badly injury hit. And they've got no one to throw the ball to. It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah, surprisingly, Vrabel still has a job at the moment.
I saw something the other day saying, I don't think they'll fire him because of it was Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't think they'll fire him because of the problems they had. Yeah.
They've been the worst team in pro football since they played the Bengals. And they've just lost every single game. They lost 2016 to the Bengals. They lost 33-10 to the Eagles. 36-22 to the Jags. 17-14 to the Chargers. 19-14 to the Texans. 27-13 to the Cowboys. And then they lost them again. Like, they are bad. Like, they are ethically bad.
Ollie, what do you think of this comment by Dave?
I would take Vrabel in a heartbeat as OC. In a heartbeat, because, as it said, I want a certain bloody fat clown getting off. I want him strapped to the rocket that's from Cornwall going to the moon as we speak.
Clown,
I want that clown gone.
I'm sure we'll get to it when we talked about like the Black Monday firings. But considering that Belichick stood up in press conference today and said that he will continue on, are you surprised that we haven't heard anything yet out of the Patriots organization about other positional coaches being moved on or let go?
It will be done. Robert Kraft isn't happy. We'll go on to it anyway, because obviously we'll talk about it because we're going to New England anyway. For the first half of the game in Buffalo, brilliant. I mean, Hines with 2 kickoff returns is ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. Belichick did right. I mean, all us Patriots fans are going, oh my God, that mulleted freak that runs a defensive play last year was shocking. But this year, they're the 8th best defensive team in the league. They've got more takeaways than any other team in the league. They scored more defensive points than any other team in the league. So what they've done on defense, second to none. You can't beat that apart from the 7 teams.
Who is your DC?
It's been Steve Belichick calling the defensive calls.
Is that Belichick's son?
Yeah. The weird mulleted man.
Love a bit of nepotism in pro football.
Yeah, I mean, Dave said Mayo.
Shanahan's team.
Yep. He's done really well on the defensive side. The offense is the problem. The offensive play call is a problem.
Okay.
Give it to Steve Belichick.
Get rid of Judge. Get rid of Patricia. Get rid of your special teams coordinator. Because special teams has given up far too many touchdowns in the last few weeks. Far too many. Since the bye,
it's Hines.
Yeah, he gave 2. He's given away punt blocked. There's so much going wrong with special teams lately. Something needs to change on that side.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we would have been the pantomime villains if we would have beaten Buffalo in Orchard Field this week.
Oh yeah.
We were literally in a no-win situation. Win, we're hated by everyone else even more. Lose, we're out. I want to I want us to win because obviously I don't want to ever see us lose, but lose gives us a good thing. We were in a winless situation. I'm glad that we played really, really well. Mac played well for 2.5 quarters, and then he tried forcing it too much. He tried chasing the game, which isn't Mac's strong point. Mac's strong point is he can throw deep and he can do things, but then when he tries to force things, especially this season, it's become because he's not had that proper coaching. It's his full downfall.
Who's your QB coach?
Apparently it's Joe Judge. So
Okay.
apparently,
I think this is just comparing him to the Niners. Whenever I see Brock Purdy, I see Brian Greasy.
Yep.
But when I see Mac Jones, who I don't like him, but I think he had a very good game yesterday, I don't see Joe Judge next to him. David just said,
yeah, I was just reading that.
saying last 3 games, Matty P is doing something right.
I don't think it's Matt. I've seen someone else walk around with a play calling sheet. I don't know who it is, but I've seen someone else walking on the offensive side with a play calling sheet. Don't know if that's just coincidence or anything like that. I know he is. I heard a lot of rumors saying that he's doing quite a bit of work. Brian Hoyer on a Monday and Tuesday. Just to get a little thing in there. Obviously, Brian Hoyer's out. Love Hoyer to come in to be a QB coach for us moving forward because I think that'd be absolutely brilliant. We're out. Buffalo take the number 2 seed. So yeah, brilliant.
Boys, very quickly. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second, right? As Niners fans and as a Pats fan, what would you think if they brought Jimmy G back to New England?
No.
No?
I think he is. I think with Jimmy is going to look to be a starter wherever he lands. And there are teams in the National Football League that need that didn't address it last year, that desperately need to address it this year. And if I'm being really honest, Ollie, and this is not a knock against Mac, but I think Mac is the same type of quarterback as Jimmy G, but he's 10 years younger. Well, not 10 years, but he's 7 years younger. It does not make sense that Bill Belichick would invest in a more expensive backup than his current starting quarterback on his first contract. Jimmy's going to look to start, and Jimmy and Mac are the exact same type of player. We can argue about the logistics and the stats, but they're very, very similar players. I just think Mac's more mobile than Jimmy.
That's why,
Dave agrees. No.
That's why I asked, the stats are in his favor and the fact that he's got more experience. But I can completely understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Minshew could be in New England.
No. Minshew isn't a Belichick player.
Dave is saying
he's got personality. I can see why he wouldn't want it.
Yeah. I think they will.
Yeah, I think Mac and Zappy is the way to go, I think, going forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I think if
Brady rested
Minshew,
up.
No.
Brady was rested up, and Falcons put 30 points on Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tampa Bay were locked up as a number 4 seed anyway. They weren't going to go a lot higher. So on that one, Minnesota beating Chicago 29-13. This actually has made Chicago the number 1 pick in the draft next year.
Yeah, I want to say something about the Texans when we get to that, but
yeah, that was I didn't see much of this because this wasn't shown very often on Red Zone. I was like, interesting option. Would you like to show that one that Dave's just brought up, please, Ollie?
Only players that could come in is Brady or Carr.
Brady won't. Brady's going to Las Vegas. Derek Carr is going
to
Carr. I reckon Derek Carr will end up in Tampa.
Okay.
There you go. That's my prediction. So, Shano, you gave a dress rehearsal.
Yes, and it wasn't a very good dress rehearsal. It's one of those ones where you wish you would have a rerun.
Well, you will do on Sunday. As my son said to you, they're going to put 1,000 points up on you.
Right, let me jump to our defense before I start tearing us apart. We rested a lot of starters in preparation for next week. And out of the day, which I put in our group chat earlier on, our third string rookie quarterback, Anthony Brown, threw for more yards on Sunday than the mighty Josh Allen of the incomparable Buffalo Bills did.
Ollie, would you like Lamar?
No.
Oh, no!
Or would you rather keep Mac?
Keep Mac because he's probably $200 million cheaper than Lamar. Develop Mac.
Now, I mean, Bill has a long history, and we're not talking about penny pinching because I think Kraft, in terms of being a good owner, Ollie, I mean, you know him better than us.
Yeah.
He's not a horrible owner. Is it? Like, out of the 32 owners, Kraft has never been the one that has, I felt, done detriment to the organization. He's got his own personal things, like when he got caught, doing blow with hookers and strippers. But that's an 18-year-old there now. But in terms of how he shafted, so he has invested. I think is it more down to Bill cheaping out on the offense, but more investing on the defense because he's a defensively minded. So I can't see him going for Lamar, and it goes back onto like that personality. Bill is very regimented. I wouldn't be surprised if I looked into the fact whether or not his family come from that military background because he likes to control.
Dave might back me up on this, but I'm pretty sure his grandfather was in one of the world wars. I can't remember which one it was.
I mean, it generally doesn't surprise me if he comes from that very militaristic because he likes to control everything. And someone like Lamar, and this isn't a knock against Cam either because I know Cam didn't have very long in New England, and again, you know better than me, but he doesn't like OTT personalities. He likes people that he can control. And I can kind of see that's probably why him and Brady clashed towards the end of their career. But Mac definitely feel like Bill would pick Mac over, say, Zach Wilson. I mean, he would probably even go for like Trevor Lawrence. So those unassuming, non-problematic quarterbacks that will just do exactly what he says and not deviate from the plot. And I think Lamar is too Lamar. Like, and that's not enough against Lamar. I do rate him to a degree as a quarterback.
As a running back, he's a great running back.
Yeah, 100%. But then you've got cheaper running backs, like there's better investments out there. But yeah, I don't personally see it. I think he would go for a very cookie cutter, boring, mobile passing quarterback.
So Dave's just come in saying he has a connection to the army. He did something last 2 weeks, invited a player to the ground and gave some reward.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's throwing a ball with Mac.
Yeah. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Shane. Do you want to go back to the Ravens?
Yeah, only briefly. What now?
I'm just laughing at you only briefly. I don't want to be doing this anymore, please.
I don't want to be doing this now.
Let us stop, please.
He beat us by 11 points. Best team won. Jamar Chase scored. Joe Mixon scored. Joe Burrow showed class. Our team is full of injuries. We rested a lot of starters. All I can say is, let's hope number 8 saves us on Sunday or our season is over.
Is it going to be like one of those memes, that Simpson memes, where he's poking and going, "Stop! He's had enough.
He's already dead."
Already.
Paraphrase George Lucas's greatest creation. Help us, Lamar, your only hope.
Ollie, you said you wanted to say something about the Texans game.
Okay, so I feel like before the game, Lovie Smith knew he was going to get fired.
I think he knew he was gone already.
They kept saying throughout the red zone coverage that I watched that he had a meeting with owners just before the game or a couple of days before the game. And it was quite a well-known meeting. I mean, they didn't say whether or not he was staying, but you just got the impression.
I reckon this was a big FU.
This was.
Franchise.
Yeah,
all day long.
100%.
They've got their QB they want in their mind. It's either one of three. It's either Levins, Stroud, or Bryce.
Yeah.
And they going, right, number 1, we can pick whichever one of them 3 we want. Go at 2, someone like Raiders, someone like Panthers, Colts going, we can get in. We're going to give you the world for that number 1 spot.
I do think the Bears will trade back.
All day long.
Yeah.
They've already got 2 picks in this round, haven't they?
I mean, considering that the Bears already have who they believe will be their franchise for the next couple of years anyway, it's a non-threatening kind of like win, isn't it? Because like we can laugh at it's Lovey's middle finger to management, but Texans are in the market for a quarterback. The Bears aren't in the market for a quarterback. Them winning is very little, other than who is number one and who is number two, the Bears don't need a quarterback.
Do you not think the Bears? Do you not think the Bears will trade back though for a team that does need a quarterback?
Or potentially, but then yeah, maybe. But then what? I mean, we'll talk about it in the offseason when we do our mock drafts. It depends on where we establish what the Bears need, and they do need plural.
I mean, Williamson Jr. is a very, very tantalizing prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is this year's version of Hutch.
Yes.
Nice,
But the only difference
play,
is if it's not a quarterback, he will go at one.
Yeah, that play that to set up the game-winning 2-pointer was a brilliant play. It was a mini Hail Mary.
Yes.
It was great. I loved it. And great. I can't remember who it was who caught it now. I think it was Aikens. Yeah, it was great concentration because it went in between the defensive back's hands.
Yeah.
And that was one of they're easy to drop.
I mean,
Phil will know more about it than I would because I never played on the attacking side of the ball. I was always on the dark side of the ball. If it's coming through the hands of a defensive back, it's easy dropped.
Yeah.
Because you take your control. Oh! It's almost like you're not expected to get it, you know. And Shane, Dave has said sorry for interrupting you.
No worries, Spice. Like I said, you just carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. It was like they kept going back on it, going, and now the Bears have got the number one pick, and now the Colts are coming back. It's like, okay, This is getting interesting, exciting.
Shane, Scott Hanson was going crazy as usual.
I love Scott Hanson on week 18 when everything's online. It's brilliant.
Is it like
this might be an interesting time to segue into the college game that you mentioned?
Oh yes, we will do that in the predictions, my friend. Because
I can wait.
Looking forward to that. The game with probably one of the most things on the line, but probably the most boring game on the line.
I turned to my dad at the start of this game and said, "This will be like 3-0." There was never going to be a touchdown in this game.
So I went up for the shower in between the two games, and this game had about a minute left on, and it was Miami had just kicked the field goal. And I come back down going, 11? When did they get a safety? When did the safety happen? But to be fair, Miami are in. There was talk that McDaniels could have been sacked. Don't see that happening somehow.
Is Tua back? That's a big question.
I don't think he'll be back. They've obviously got Teddy's finger. I can't remember, one of your boys won't be available for the Bills game either. They're in trouble, Miami.
Yeah, I think with Miami, and I mean, Ollie, you're not Tua's biggest proprietor anyway. I mean, it casts us back to, and we talked about this a couple of episodes ago now, when the Raiders lost Carr going into the championship game. Yay, they won. Yay, they made the playoffs. Yay! But without Carr, they knew going into that game that they were not going to do anything. And we can talk about we can talk about Teddy. I mean, you've always got like 1A, 1B in terms of your quarterback situation. You're going into it with neither. I don't care how great McDaniels is, and I rate McDaniels really, really highly as a offensive coordinator, and him being the first year head coach. They've had some really, really good positives, but I just don't fancy Dolphins going into this at all without, Tua and even Teddy. I mean, you can try and give the ball to Tyreek all you want, but I mean, the Bills are just a more comprehensive team surrounded, but taking Tua out of the equation, I don't fancy.
When the Dolphins did beat the Bills, everything went right for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So without Tua or Teddy, Tyreek was managing an injury. Waddle went down late. I think Mostert's out. I just can't see them doing much.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Yeah.
A couple of other games. I mean, Carolina beat New Orleans 10-7. Again, there was nothing much shown on this one. A couple of touchdowns. Sam Darnold fumble touchdown.
I know. I saw that and went, oh my good God. Like, when everything's going your way, everything is going your way. Can I just say as well, I think the Saints genuinely need to look into the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I thought Jameis Winston was okay, but then they just dropped him.
Well,
I mean,
that's it. If you don't have belief in your core, I mean, we can go into lots of different positions, and I've mentioned before when I played, when you go into a game knowing that your quarterback cannot be trusted, and you do not like your quarterback for various reasons. We're not saying this is the same to Winston that when he was in Tampa and he got chased out of Tampa. But if you've got your team and they do not believe in your coaching structure and your coaching schemes, do not believe in your quarterback, that's when you have to go, all right, maybe I'm the problem and I'm going to be moved on. And I think that's going to be genuinely the situation that the Saints need to find themselves in.
I mean, they've got 2 veteran quarterbacks in Winston and Darnold. Draft one, get rid of one.
You mean Dalton?
Dalton, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the wrong D. Chris Olave is their bright spot, though. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
We said that at the beginning of the season. He's one of my rookies to keep an eye on, Chris Olave. And he's fantastic. Fair play. What a coming out party he's had.
Yeah, you did.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Steelers kept up on their end of the business by beating Cleveland, which pretty much resulted in their DC being sacked, Cleveland's DC.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson with a little bit of magic, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I only because I watched this game with interest, because at one point it was a close game. Like it was very good. And every time that they cut back to red zone to that particular game, Deshaun Watson was starting to look, and I hate it because I hate him so much. He was starting to look good. Like he was starting to have that bit of a swagger again, and it just sucks for Cleveland, I guess, if you can feel that way about them. Is that the season is now ended, and he's now not going to throw another ball properly in a competitive game until August time for the preseason. So, yeah, he is starting to get his swag, and I genuinely thought that they looked good. Like Chubb looked good. His connection with his offense looked good.
You know, he's got a good target in Donovan Peoples. Really good. I really do like that Peoples Jones. And then
Cooper, don't forget about Cooper too.
Yeah, I mean there is some really, really good targets there. I mean, keep the offense fit, add a couple of little tweaks to the defense, and Cleveland will be there or thereabouts with the other.
They'll be your Super Bowl pick again next year, probably, Ollie.
I'm the same with our resident teacher down in the bottom right hand corner down there. I can't. I couldn't.
I don't really. I hate Deshaun Watson too, but he did look
so much. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him the same way that I hate, say, Patrick
Russell Wilson.
And Russell Wilson.
Trent Dilfer.
Like I was sitting on the sofa on Saturday night and we was watching the Raiders game, and I said to my wife every time, I said, I hate Patrick Mahomes, and she was like, "Do you hate him because you hate his family?" I went, "No, I hate him because he's so good." And you know when you hate someone because they're so good, and I'm still bitter about the Super Bowl and even earlier in the season where they absolutely clapped us. So I hate Patrick Mahomes because he's amazing, and I would love him in San Francisco. We would worship him in the Bay. But I hate Deshaun Watson because he is talented. But what he's done, I find very, very hard. I put him in the same category as like Michael Vick. Like I find it so hard to forgive. Talent doesn't overcome the fact that he's a shady, horrible human being. And that's it. Please don't do it for libel.
So, I want to say 2 things about Denver and LA. First thing was what they did for DeMar Hamlin, that getting together and the 2 number 3s in the middle of the 2 captains was class.
Yeah.
So DeMar James, Derwin James, and Russell Wilson walked up together, crossed arms, held arms, whatever they do, and knelt down and prayed, and all the teams were linked up either side. I thought that was absolutely class. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Russell Wilson's looked really good these last 2 weeks without Nathaniel Hackett anywhere near that area.
He's looked like Mr. Unlimited again.
And the fact that they are looking at Sean Payton possibly going in there as well.
Now, with Payton, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I keep meaning into looking into even more. If they were to interview, because is he essentially on gardening leave from the Saints?
He's still contracted for 2 years to the Saints.
So if he were to agree, and if they gave him permission, obviously the Broncos would have to give something up, i.e. picks. They have no picks.
Yeah.
They have no capital. Like they have nothing to trade for to get Sean Payton into that organization. This is what really I mean, I'd love to see how this actually goes forward, whether or not it's future picks, whether or not it's not in the next 2 drafts, but maybe the draft after, like they go quite a low pick and then they go to a high pick to balance it out. But my understanding, looking at like the Denver situation in the offseason when it comes to draft, is they've got nothing to bargain with. Like they don't.
No. They've got Jerry Jeudy, who I would take in a heartbeat. Chase Edmonds is another one. Cortland Sutton. I'd even take their rookie tight end.
Yeah.
He looks
Pat Surtain as well, Justin Simmons.
Yes. They've got some really good DBs as well.
Jamal Williams, that running back, got injured.
I mean, Surtain, I'm a big fan of. I traded for him on Madden for the 49ers. So I do rate him really, really highly.
Shane?
Yes.
Have LA Chargers ruined their chance against Jags by playing their starters when they weren't going to go up and they weren't going to drop down? Mike Williams has limped off. In fact, he got carted to the...
Yeah.
Have they blown it against the Jags?
I think a lot of it is an ego thing. You know, you go into every game and you want to win, regardless of what's on the line afterwards. But to be honest with you, I think they may have, because the Jags are on fire right now. The Jags have won their conference for the first time in I don't know how long. I'm not going to lie, first time in a long time. So and they are honestly on fire right now, and I wouldn't want to play them at the moment. And I think the Chargers may have gambled, and it may not have paid off.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Herbert. I think he goes under the radar quite a lot because in the AFC you've got Burrow, you've got Allen, you've got Mahomes, you've even got Wilson. You've got quite a lot of sexy names in the AFC. So I don't think he gets the same props, say, that if he played for, let's say, like the Saints in the NFC, because he's a really, really good quarterback. He's just in a division where there's other great quarterbacks, so I think he gets overlooked. And
social media quarterback.
Yeah, but like I think he's really, really good, and I just hope he becomes something. I mean, I've thrown Lawrence into that category as well in the AFC, but I do think they massively missed the trick because when we come on to, I mean, if you talk about the 49ers later, when it became established that we had won that game quite comfortably, Kyle, other than taking out Purdy, he was switching up the offense and parts of the defense. So he was keeping in mind that we've got probably Seattle, Detroit, or Green Bay.
Remember, he did take Purdy out for the fourth quarter.
Did he? Because it doesn't say on. Because it didn't say on the stats when I looked earlier that he'd been taken out. Because I watched the highlights.
And we might as well
we'll jump onto that one in a minute. Yeah. We've got one more game, and then we'll get onto your game. Okay, gentlemen. Yeah. Eagles have finally locked up that number 1 seed after
I was
4 weeks.
I was getting a bit excited at the end, though.
I won't lie, I fell asleep.
Are you supposed to be a broadcast journalist, Oliver? Come on now.
I had a christening. I was up early. It's a long day. It's a long day. Okay. Yeah. But no, I mean, I've gone back and seen it. You know, it is. Davis Webb didn't look like a bad quarterback, to be fair.
No, he didn't.
23 from 40, 169 yards. He looked comfortable in that pocket. But Jalen Hurts is Eagles X Factor, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good for them. They got a nice rest week. It gets Hurts full back at the full fitness. You know, he only threw the ball 35 times. He didn't really run. Either he didn't scramble for anything. They didn't try any 3rd and 1s or 4th and 1s to try and just sneak it forward. They looked after him. They kept him very close. AJ Brown is a different level, though, for them. He is their receiving yardage leader now.
He's something that's changed for them. That's changed the season for them. Darren Hurts improving.
And Devontae Smith.
Which is why...
Devontae Smith last season wasn't very good. This season
I think Howie Roseman has played a blind against AJ Brown.
Yeah. Only for a first.
And some of their D2 with like Darius Slay and people like that.
Yeah, they've done really well. Philadelphia.
I think AJ Brown is one of those superstars. I think AJ Brown is one of those superstars, like Julio Jones, who went to a team and could have been hit or miss. You know, like Kenny Golladay, that sort of thing. I mean, he is obviously a miss. Julio Jones, I think he plays for the Bucs now. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah, miss again. But AJ Brown has been unstoppable. Fantastic player, great acquisition.
You mentioned Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay,
Good
easy for
touchdown.
me to say, first touchdown in 900 days.
That's unbelievable. And the money you're paying him, that's unreal. That's
For
unreal.
someone that, I mean, admittedly, he missed pretty much the whole of last season when the Achilles. But that's ridiculous. Nearly 900 days, without receiving touchdown is ridiculous. Should we give these guys to our right a little?
Come on, Amber.
Shout?
My favourite part of the week. Come on,
Oh,
Then I'll let you take it first.
all right, so
AJ Green.
what I am mildly concerned about, but I don't think it's going to be a problem going into the off season unless we somehow find ourselves playing the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. DeMarco Ryans in the defense really struggle against unknown quantities because they really struggled against Stidham. And if you notice that Stidham did not have a particularly good game against Kansas because they probably looked at the tape. And then David Blau and then Trace McSorley, who are probably not future names to keep in mind for Madden at 24.
Oh, they're not Hall of Famers.
No, they're not.
That was brilliant on Hard Knocks.
Toss them away into the Dilfer bin. Into the Dilfer dumpster.
You can't do those things about Trace McSorley. What are you talking about?
I can and I will. And I think we really struggle because if you've got, and this is my biggest concern against a really good pass offense, say if we play against the Eagles or, thank God we're not playing against Brady. No, if we play like against Brady, but we're not playing against Rodgers to say, because Funga is blowing coverage after coverage after coverage, and it's really concerning since he started doing this since being
player of the year at the start of the season.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Like we can pinpoint to him starting to play poorly when he got elected to the Pro Bowl, and then since then he's not been great. But I mean, the fact that you had like 50-year-old AJ Green beating out a cornerback and a safety to walk in a touchdown. But was it just blown coverage because the tackling was horrifically bad?
In between two defend DBs, that was a great catch.
It was close right up until the end of the first quarter, and then the 49ers just... I mean, at no genuine point, this isn't arrogance, at no genuine point did I think we were going to lose that game.
Yeah,
like, at all. It was a different environment to when we played the Raiders the week before, and I was going, oh crap, they're actually going to... Like, the silver and black attack are going to ruin the 49ers win streak. But at no point did I think the Cardinals were going to... I mean, we gave JJ Watt like his customary, well done, happy retirement, sack big cock Brock. But that was kind of it. I mean, he was kind of contained.
He got 2 sacks.
I mean, but we gave him. I mean, then he walked off the field anyway at the end of the fourth quarter. Like, did you see the highlights of him just walking off the field? Like he purposely delayed the game, so he shafted his own team.
I was there like flashback to John Terry getting his guard of honor.
Yeah. Did you see? It was actually. I mean, if you watch the highlights, it's quite sad because like he walks off the field in the fourth quarter when the 49ers are already 38-13 up, and the stadium has gone empty. So he's doing his lap of honor, but he's walking over to one side, and you just see like it's empty because everyone's just gone home.
Yeah, it's at Levi Stadium. Everyone's like, "Yeah, we've won. Get off the field."
Yeah, well, we're gonna book our tickets to go watch when we play Seattle next week. Again, it was another great performance by McCaffrey, a great performance by Kittle. We're going to go into the off season. Greenlaw will be back. Debo will be back. I mean, Jimmy might make the NFC Championship game.
I would just like to give a shout out to Ayuk for his first 1,000-yard season this evening.
Oh my God, he was again, it's just how star-studded our offense is, and I'm going to shut up in a second and let you talk. But I think we're getting to this point where everyone's blowing on cylinders. Brock Purdy is outplaying Jimmy Garoppolo's offense, and I'm mildly confident going into next Saturday's game against Seattle at home at Levi's.
Hufanga needs to stop getting done by play-action passes.
Hufanga thinks he's Polamalu, like he does. It really frustrates me because he's like, I'm going to sack that guy, but blow my... I played with a lad at university called Addy, and bless you, I love Addy. He was like this 6 foot.
I played with him.
You played with Addy as well?
He was ball hawk.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's the exact same. So like, Addy was a strong safety, and when in the world, our first season, oh my God, he used to. I mean, he was a great tackler. He was fast as anything, man. But like, he would just blow coverage, and he would just like, I want to sack the. I mean, he couldn't read the game for anything in his first year, so he was just like blown coverage. I'm going to get to the quarterback. Just pass. Like the amount of passing plays and passing touchdowns we gave up in our first year because Addy was blowing coverage.
Can I just say, I played alongside him in the DB zone.
Yeah.
So imagine how frustrating it was for me having my free safety or strong safety. John was like, No, follow him, not that
Yeah.
guy.
I know, and
Yep.
that was
That's
I've
what I
got a
did.
highlight tape. I've got a highlight tape from my first year of just Addy just like tackling players, but I purposely left out all the plays that he blew because he was just going to go. No, I'm just going to go get him instead. But then nobody
Sounds familiar.
didn't get angry with him because he was such a nice guy. Anyway, Hafunga thinks he's part out. He thinks he's part. What's his name? Oh, he was the Giants' outside linebacker.
OC.
Strahan,
No, not Strahan. He was the Hall of Famer.
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor, yeah, he thinks he's part Lawrence Taylor and part Palomalu, does Hufanga. And I think if he gets that out of his game, because he was just leaving Jimmy Ward really, really open for a good portion of Arizona's passing plays. But I think I'm not saying that we're going to win the Super Bowl, but we'll get to the NFC Championship game and then we'll see where we are from there.
But yeah, someone can light us up if they just. Also, Lenoir's a bit of a liability. But
Yeah, but then we'll have that when we have Thomas back, won't we?
Thomas is back. It's Mosley I miss.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a good question.
Yeah. I said that last night, yeah.
Jimmy G's back for the NFC game. You get there. You get to it. Say, hypothetically, you get to the NFC Championship game. Jimmy's back, fit.
No.
Do you go,
Answer's no.
Jimmy?
No.
Can you? Or do you? Because you'll need him on the sidelines no matter what, won't you?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
of that experienced head, just to keep talking to Brock. If you go with Brock, I would. I mean, looking at how Brock's played last week, if he rolls you all there, we'll play your hot hand.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm with you on
you're
that.
playing with you are with Brock Purdy. No matter what happens, you're playing with the house money.
And I'm just saying that if we get to the Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo 0-1 as a starter, but 2-0 as a backup.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the Rams Seahawks game.
I mean, before we go into it, and again, it'll be interesting from both of yours, because let's think about way back in 2001, Ollie. I mean, what's his name, who went down?
Drew Bledsoe.
Who?
Drew Bledsoe.
Bledsoe was your guy, and
Bledsoe just got a massive contract, hadn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
they had to trade him in the offseason, but he was your guy. He went down. Brady got you to the Super Bowl, and Bill had to make that same decision. Do I go with a hot hand with Tom, or do I go with Bledsoe? He went with Tom.
It's like that. You were going against the the St. Louis Rams, who were the team.
Warner. Yeah.
The
greatest game on turf. Say no.
Yes,
did you win the Super Bowl in 2000 or 2002?
2001, I'm sure it was.
No, because they won it in 2001, because they won it the same year as 9/11.
It wasn't.
In which case,
it was 2002.
Yeah,
2002. Yeah, it was
Rams in
2002.
So, no, this isn't me throwing genuine shade at you, but I'm willing to remember that Trent Dilfer was not your starting quarterback. He
wasn't. No, I know. I think it was Tony Banks, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, so I mean, he was like, but you went with the hot hand. You went with the guy that got you to the Super. I mean, it's painful to say it. That but he got, so in terms of where we all collectively sit with our elitism of our teams when we've won Super Bowls, I mean, you go with the guy with the hot hand that's got you there. Jimmy had his 5-game, but then he also lost it. I mean, he lost games already in the season. Brock hasn't lost a game yet in the NFL.
No.
Well, at the end of the day, boys, to quote the great Jim Ross, you dance with what brung you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd just like to put in a little stat there, which says that Brock Purdy has become the first quarterback since 1950 to start his career 5-0 and throw multiple pass scores in each of those games, breaking the tie with Hall of Famer Kurt Warner.
I mean, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I was about to say he had the tie with Warner somewhere.
My only genuine concern about Brock Purdy, and it's a genuine concern, and I've only realised it when I saw a picture of the locker room of him standing next to Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock Purdy's quite small. I don't know if he's the same height as Kyler Murray, but he is not a big lad.
He's Russell Wilson. He's the same height as Russell Wilson.
So somebody said that's the reason he went so low. He dropped to where he did in the draft because of his height.
I could see that. But he's balling.
I think he's like 6 foot, which isn't that bad.
But I mean, I guess when you stand next to Trent Williams, everybody looks small. When you stand next to Debo, or when you stand next to George Kittle, you're going to look small.
So Brock Purdy is 6'1".
Shut the front door.
I've just literally looked on ESPN. He is 6'1".
How tall is Jimmy then? Because Jimmy must be 6'4".
Jimmy's 6'4". Jimmy's 6'4".
He's got. Tom Brady's 6'4". I've just got Tom Brady up on my Wikipedia for some reason.
Let's have a look at
6'1" isn't
LA
small.
Rams and Seattle.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, LA Rams and Seattle.
Baker Mayfield made a Jimmy Garoppolo play in that.
Oh, what the pick?
The pick in overtime.
Oh my God, yeah, that is.
Garoppolo throw.
You know, I said earlier on that Mac was trying to force things.
Yeah.
That's what Baker did. This goes back to where you keep saying where you want a quarterback not to lose you a game. That's what Baker is in that bracket. You know, he's been around the league, 5 years now?
Yeah,
6 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
He should not need to be making those mistakes. You expect him from a second year, first year, third year when they're still developing, still learning, but not someone who's been around the league that long. You know, Jimmy does it. Everyone, you know, the second, third tier down the quarterbacks do it, but you don't see Mahomes, you don't see Allen, you don't see Burrows, you don't see those guys making those kind of throws, and that's what makes them the elite quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
But yeah. Kenneth Walker, 114 yards.
This
guy is in rookie of the year conversationally.
He needs
100%.
Yeah, all day long. All day long. And obviously that causes a ratification for the Detroit Green Bay, because obviously Seattle win the 7th seed. Dallas, if they play like that, and I said this to my team leader, who is a Cowboys fan, they play like that, they are one and done in the playoffs. And
that game and the potential follow-up this weekend could be enough to put Jerry in the grave. Like, they were really, I mean, let's call it as it is. Jerry Jones is trying to throw everything at the wall to win one more Super Bowl before he dies. Like, he is. Because he hit that part in the 90s where he won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and the Cowboys, America's team was back. They were big again like they were in the 70s. Pew, 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 who them boys? Pew, 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 who them boys? Like, but, I mean, then he's had 20-odd years of nothing. He is desperate for Dallas to win. And if they play like they did, they were poor. I mean, this is a team, Ollie, that we spanked. And we did. We really did spank the Redskins. We really did spank Washington. And the Dallas Cowboys, who did not rest any of their players, that was their starting 11 on all 3 sides of the ball that they're expecting to play next weekend, and they were humiliated.
Preston was playing like Dilfer.
We said on the group chat, last night as I was watching this game, Dak is their problem.
Yeah.
If you get a phone call for Dak Prescott, you take it. Although I don't know why you would receive phone calls for Dak Prescott.
Dallas Cowboys are the Liverpool of the NFL. Take that for what you will.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Sam Howell, I mean, the gentleman to my left is very high on Sam Howell. He was very high on him last year coming out. Had his first start. Shows to me he's done enough to be the starter for Washington next year.
I still think Heineke, but...
I mean, Sam Howell did brilliant. He dropped a couple of absolute dimes to Dobson and Samuel, and his touchdown run, he dropped the shoulder and going, I don't give a flying monkeys. This is my last game of the season. I'm going for this, and you are not standing in my way.
Yeah.
Fair play to him.
I do think watching him play, he has that very similar Heineke movement to him, where he's a heavy thrower. He's not afraid to run with power. This is why I don't think Ron Rivera is going to get sacked at all. He's that type of hard nose. I'm just going to throw it and hope for the best, like a YOLO. I'm going to hit you in the face type of player. And I think he'll definitely be in the organisation next year. I think Heineke will be. I think it'll be 1A, 1B with those two. I don't think they're going to go for a flashy quarterback. I don't think that's what Washington are going to do. No. But Howell's like Heineke last year, where Heineke stated his claim for this year, because, I mean, wasn't it his playoff performances last year at the back end of the season where that got him that year extension? I think Howell's going to have the exact same.
Have we seen Aaron Rodgers finally walk away from the NFL?
I watched this game before, just before I came online. So I think Rodgers does need to walk away now.
He left so many things going. Like, for example, James Williamson goes up to him. Can I sign your shirt? And he goes, no, I'm keeping this one. His press conference offers, he goes, I need to evaluate. I need to look in this. I need to gave all these things. Go, I need to work out what's important and all this. So he's given all this.
Did he say along the lines of, I need to know when to get off this carousel?
Yes, and he needs to work out what this organization's doing and stuff like that.
This is the same rubbish that he does every single year, where he puts it like he's such a master at like media manipulation in terms of like his retirement. Because Brady will go away and mention nothing other than like the odd thing will come out, but like he did in the off season. But he will go. But Aaron Rodgers, as soon as like he knows the game's over, oh no, I'm going to disappear for a little bit. He just lays those little those little sound bites until like the Green Bay Nation, the Pack Nation go, oh no, Aaron, please come back. You were great 12 years ago. Oh my God. And he'll come back. I do genuinely think Aaron Rodgers will be back next season. I don't think he's retiring. So I'm just because I've had a bit of time after school today. So I've done some proper in-depth research. And I just think this is just Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. He's going to sit on the Pat McCaffrey show for the next couple of weeks, and he's going to sit there and act like he's too cool for school, and he's going to come back in the off-season.
He's got a new girlfriend now.
I know, a 25-year-old swimwear model.
Never.
Great is.
No, I read that he was dating the heiress to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Isn't she like a model in her own right?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, let's not talk about Aaron Rodgers' Love Island. I want to do some praise to Jamal Williams, breaking Deion Sanders' touchdown record for the Lions. I mean, my son drafted him and kept him on the bench for half the bloody season.
Yeah, he tried to trade my dad for Jerick McKinnon, which
I know. I told him off for that one.
Jerick McKinnon actually had a very good second half of the season.
Yeah. But I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again this week. Detroit Lions will win the North next year.
Yeah. I agree.
I like that.
Can I just say as well, it could have been, and this is why I love the mindset that Dan Campbell's put into the Detroit Lions, because before that game was kicked off, it was established that they were not going into the playoffs. Like their season was done. And they went into they went into Green Bay, didn't they? They went into Green Bay on a cold January evening. Their season's done, and yet they still had that mentality of, our season's done. We're not playing next week, but we're going to make sure that Aaron Rodgers and the bloody Packers are also not playing next weekend. And tight game in the grand scheme of things, but like just that mentality of like, we're done. But we're going to screw over our divisional rivals and probably our biggest rivals in our division next year. And I love that. I genuinely love that. Screw Green Bay.
And there was little things like they were going like, instead of just like little things like running the clock down, going for like a run play, they were like on the fourth down. It's like, we're just going to throw it down the middle and kill the clock completely.
Yeah.
3-17. I have no idea what that play to pass St. Brown, who literally pushed it back to DeAndre Swift, who just ran.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. Like, it was one of those when I saw it in real time. I went, "Oh, they've just like like a couple of weeks ago when the Chiefs played the Broncos and Mahomes had that pass patted down, but he caught it and passed it again." Watching it when I was doing half asleep, going, "Oh, he's messed it up, but he's made the most of it." When you see that it's a designed play, that takes some gall again in Green Bay to do that in Lambeau.
I mean, going back, this was nothing you would see Matt Patricia do. No one in New England would drum up that kind of idea. This where these young, adventurous offensive coordinators who've lived on playing Madden and things like that has done.
And college ball as well, because a lot of these young coaches are coming straight from the colleges. So I mean, that's. I just think we're just going through this slow shift in the NFL to more of your adventurous play calling. Like I'm going to call it like the Shanahan scheme. Because you think about like the modern day offense, it comes to like Kyle Shanahan with like McVay and even Cliff and McDaniels, and I just think that creative. I mean, and the players that are coming up are more creative as well. I mean, you got like your wide backs, like your Debos, your McCaffreys that can do so much. I mean, I think the next 10 years of the NFL is going to be quite exciting in terms of offense. Before then we go back to that days. Go on.
Robert, I will say two things about this Lions and Packers game. Who, at the beginning of the season, would have thought the Lions would have a better record than the Packers to finish the season? Nobody, right?
True.
Secondly, I just want to say how happy I am for the Lions organization and for Dan Campbell and his players to actually have a record over 500 for the first time in, well, I think they're on the up now. And as you said, you can see them in the North. I don't think that's a bad bet whatsoever.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's them and the Vikings next year.
I want to say something, though. Quay Walker, get a 6-game ban minimum. You do not touch doctors.
Yeah.
What an idiot. What an idiot. And you could see, admittedly, you could see his game obviously be ejected, and he looked physically upset with himself going down the tunnel.
He was literally crying. He was crying.
That was such a stupidest thing to do. I mean, he's a rookie. His first season, all that. Yes, he's the first player in the NFL to be ejected from 2 games in a season.
Ridiculous.
Right, hypothetically, right? Just like I said, hear me out. What if he pushed our doctor, right? What if our doctor had a rush of blood and took a swing for him?
Yeah.
How would that play out? Whose fault would it be then? You know, in that atmosphere, you've got all those fans cheering and the tension's rife, and you cut the atmosphere with a knife, that sort of thing, and everyone's on edge, especially when there's an injury involved as well. What if what if he kicked off? You know, he'd be fined. He may have even been thrown out the league.
Yeah.
I mean, can I just add as well? It shows the current toxicity of that Packers organization, because that's been the thing all season, hasn't it? Even on Sunday, the amount of time. I mean, there was a one pass in particular. I can't remember who it wasn't to Lazard, but Aaron Rodgers passed it, pretty good pass. He dropped it and he just cut to like Aaron Rodgers doing this. And if your quarterback, your captain, your face is doing that, and you see particular players on the offense kind of like mimic that kind of apathy of, well,
I think
it was Jones.
I was going to go. I thought it was Watson.
Was it Watson?
I thought it was Watson too.
I knew it wasn't until Lazard, but I can't remember who it was. But like, you just see Aaron, and Aaron's done this all season, and then obviously that happened, him being like ejected. I mean, if I'm Goodell and you want to like really, especially since what's happened this week, where doctors have saved a player's life on the field of play. I think if you're Roger Goodell, you throw the book at him, and I think 6 games is lenient, considering that Deshaun Watson did worse and got 10?
11.
Either way.
Yeah. Right. Regarding Black Monday, we will cover on Thursday's show because we've spent a lot of time discovering stuff. Yeah. But we have a bonus predictions round tonight. Tonight is the NCCFA or NCCA college football final. Thank you. College final against the number 3 seeds TCU, who are 13-1 this season, against the 14-0 Georgia Bulldogs, who are the number 1 seed. The 2 pantomime villains were the only ones who didn't get 4 out of 4. We went for Green Bay. Didn't we?
We did.
Who are you pointing at, Ollie? I'm not there, mate. I'm over here. Hello, I'm here.
You are to me.
You got to point the other way on the camera.
To me, this is correct.
Ollie, you could never make any what's it called, aeroplane thing with the signals and that. Never do that.
But I've still managed to keep my lead. I'm still on 45. Phil and Shane are on 44, and Ollie with 4 out of 4 is on 35.
I think it's my first 4 out of 4 of the season.
Yeah, first 4 out of 4 this season. Yeah, it is, man. So we've gone for tonight's college final. Obviously, this is great. I will be watching it tomorrow on the laptop because work's very quiet tomorrow.
Do you want my job? Do you want my job, Ollie? You more than...
I'd love it.
Do some of my to-do list tomorrow then.
Don't think I'll be allowed to do that one, boys. But yeah, so obviously we've got TCU, who took out number 2 Michigan last week in a really good high-scoring game. Gentlemen, who are we going for?
Dogs by 2 scores.
Ollie's gone for the Dogs. Georgia Dogs.
I'm going Bulldogs. Woof, woof.
as has been well documented on the show since week 1, I know absolutely nothing about college football. Nothing at all. Right? So at the flip of a coin, do you know what? Nah, screw it. I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'll go that TCU thing. Yeah? I'll do that.
You're going Horned Frogs, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm doubling up with Shano. I fancy TCU. I mean, I watched a couple of their games this year. They were played when I was in Boston. We saw them play there. I saw a bit of them play in Boston.
That's cool.
On the telly. They're really good. They got a really good offense.
TCU have been surprising everyone this year.
Yeah, I mean, they do look good. They look really good from what I saw against Michigan last week.
They were unranked when the season started, and they finished.
Wow.
Number 3 ranked. So I am going for the underdogs to TCU. I think it's going to be a really good game. It normally really is. It normally is a high-scoring game. It is like a gunslinging show. It is brilliant.
I mean, it's 2 good quarterbacks, Spencer Bennett, and I can't remember the TCU guy.
Yeah. Brilliant. Cool. We don't have a Black Monday on the show, although sometimes I do feel like I need it with the Niners. So we will be back on Thursday, 7:30. The 2 blonde gentlemen below us, maybe. It depends on out of work or work commitments on their side. But me and the OG will be back. Or OH in this case, not OG.
Nice.
Depends if we keep our names of Fireman Patricia and Bosa for DPOY. But we will be back on Thursday. Can
I just say one thing before we sign off for the evening, Ollie?
Knock yourself out, Shane.
I've only just noticed Phil's name. I absolutely love it. Class, I love it.
And I have noticed
I do love at the beginning of the season we had our names properly because obviously we're introducing.
Yeah.
Like as the season's gone on, we've literally just skipped over, and it's become more of our personal messages towards the NFL than it actually is our own names now. Like,
yeah, I changed my hashtag on Monday show to hashtag see you in September.
There has been some breaking news. I'll probably before we start the show. Damar Hamlin has been released from the university since has returned to Buffalo on Monday morning.
That's good.
Brilliant news. Obviously, they'll keep him under observation in Buffalo, I'm guessing, and go for there. But absolutely excellent news. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you Thursday night. Stay safe all.